there. Hey. So, is this even on? Yeah, no, we're good. So I went to go see the movie. Is it called Orphan something? Orphan Kill tonight. I didn't even finish the movie because the plot turned out to be like, oh God. So it's basically a movie that is about social norms and family. And I personally am just not into that. It's actually kind of like anti at this point. Sorry. It's anti at this point who I am in my life. So I couldn't watch it. I was just like, I feel like I know how this is going to end. I don't need to see anymore. But I did want to talk for a second about that sort of narrative and like what that means. So basically there's like this, so she's like a 31-year-old, but she has some sort of genetic disorder that causes her to not age physically beyond 10. So she looks like a 10-year-old. So she's got like Benjamin Button syndrome or something. But then also she's like a psychopath killer. So she's in a psychiatric hospital. There's even stuff about that, like in movies try to glamorize mental health as though it has to do with violence, and most of the time, like 80% of the time, mental health and people who are in psychiatric institutions, it has nothing to do with violence. Like committing a violent act will place you in prison. Like there are people with mental health issues who are on death row. Like if you kill someone, that's called murder, and you don't just like get off for murder if you have mental health issues. So the way that movies, especially American movies, talk about mental health, because they only do it in one way, where it's like everyone with mental health is like a mass shooter, and even what we know about mass shooters in this country, none of the mass shooters have mental health issues. They are literally just incels. They're not mentally unhealthy. They're just like, most of them are like white supremacist incels. But all in all, they're all male and they're all, it's like the same group of people. So we can't keep equating mental, because then we also know like most of the women in the country are in therapy seeking mental health services, like so many of them, like all the women in the country. So we can't just be like mental health and violent acts are the same thing and start to like normalize this shit in society as though it's the same thing. It's not. There are people who commit violent acts and those people go to prison. There are people who are suffering from mental health and those people go to therapy. It's kind of different. Anyway, but so then there's a whole other aspect of this story where basically the girl who's in the psychiatric institution escapes and she goes to, she like takes on the identity of a missing person. Now it turns out the missing person is a girl, is a 10-year-old girl, but her parents, her mother specifically, her mother and her brother like killed her, and they plotted her death because of some bad blood that she had with her brother. So the mother in this case realizes how meaningful the life, because she comes back into this family, like the police are like, we found your child. Now what can the mother say when she like killed the child, but then she had to pretend like, oh no, this child that I like lost is now found. And the father didn't have anything to do with the death, so he's super happy that she's back, and they formed this bond over painting and stuff. So the mother is having this internal conflict where she's like, I can't snatch away this child that he loves so much from him when she's making his life better. But also, I know that you're not my child, so I don't love you. And the brother hates her altogether and knows that this entire thing is a lie, so he's just like an asshole. So there's all of these things playing out. I mean, it's definitely drama, and it's definitely interesting, kind of. For me, I feel like not so much. I feel like I have way more drama in my own life that's more interesting than like that. But I will say that these are stories that are more similar in proximity to, how can you say, the public facing life of acceptable middle class white culture. And I think we just need to have more and more conversations about what that looks like, because everyone has this idea that it looks like perfect families and white picket fences and no drama at all, when that's just honestly not the case. And I also wanted to talk for a moment about beauty standards and Brett Cooper and Leonardo DiCaprio's new girlfriend. So basically, Leonardo DiCaprio breaks up with the girl that he was with, Camila something, and he's now with a new Russian model. Now, there's a couple things I want to say about this. We got to start with Americans. People all over the world have this idea that Americans are so beautiful, they're so rich, they're so great, blah, 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 whatever the narrative is. Now, I feel like what has happened is people who are in media, so this is like rappers, actors, singers, musicians, politicians even, have gotten a chance to like travel the world. So if they're black, if they're white, if they're Hispanic, whatever they are, they've gotten a chance to really see beautiful women from all over the world. So I feel like at this point, everyone kind of, if you're just talking about aesthetics, and for men, for most men, especially like rich men, it's mostly about aesthetics. Like, a lot of American men are trying to have conversations about soft life and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And in reality, most of the people in the world are still living in the he likes pretty women, she likes wealthy men. It's as simple as that. There's not more things. Like, those are the criteria. And I just really hope that more black women kind of just get on that bandwagon. And the way you can kind of figure out like where you are, because I don't think that looking at traditional media is going to give you a good perception about where you land in that realm, simply because there's just not enough representation of like black women in general in like whatever popular media is right now. But if you do follow a wide range of YouTubers, you might get a better idea of like kind of who's who and like what's beautiful and what's not. Just really kind of getting to see how more people from around the globe are living. So, you know, there's that. But if you look at Leonardo DiCaprio's new girlfriend, she is Russian. If you also look at Johnny Depp's new girlfriend, I think she's Russian too. Now, these are like really wealthy these are relatively wealthy white men. And they can choose from any woman in the world. They are not choosing American white women. I just feel like we need to like talk about this for a second, because like they're choosing the cream of the crop. Like all wealthy men around the world are choosing the cream of the crop. This is why I've been trying to highlight for some of you guys like some weddings that I think are phenomenal. Like, I'm going to cover Lais Ribeiro's wedding. Maybe I'll do it tonight. I'm not really doing anything else. But she was like a Victoria's Secret model, and she married some basketball player. There's also, I think, Gabrielle Union and her husband, Dwayne Wade. That's a really nice couple. Jasmine Tookes and her husband, they just had an anniversary today. Very cute couple. But Johnny Depp choosing the Russian model, or even Kate Moss did an interview today where she was talking about the first diamond necklace that she ever got. Johnny Depp gave it to her. So when she was like a really fresh ass model, she was dating Johnny Depp, and he literally pulled a diamond necklace out of his ass. Well, she pulled a diamond necklace out of his ass, and then she wore it on the runway the next day. Or she wore it out to dinner or something the next day. That was like a real story that she told. And it's just kind of like, I just want more people to like understand how society works. Like, wealthy, high performing, wealthy men like sexy bitches. And there's not one look, okay? Like Kate Moss doesn't really look like Natalie Portman. They're very different. Gabrielle Union doesn't really look like Jazz Toots. They're different. You know what I'm saying? There's like a wide variety of like hot bitches. Okay. Like Beyonce doesn't really look like Halle Berry. All these women though are like really beautiful. We don't actually need to compare them. We can just like simply end the sentence with like, this is a beautiful woman. Penelope Cruz, I've given another interview about how she's beautiful. Someone else commented on my like how unattractive is Rosalia video today, trying to describe these like terminology differences, because I was laughing. I was basically making a joke. I was like, Rosalia is a European, and they were like, no, she's a white Hispanic. Now, this is where I feel like Latin America is living under a rock somewhere. Like, Rosalia isn't white. She's not white in Europe, and she's not white in America. In Latin America, I suppose she is white. I'm not going to take that away from her, but this is in Latin America. Like, I'm in America right now. And whoever was making that argument that literally sparked me to make that video was talking about Europe. Now, I think it was Prada that just did a European beauty segment, and they used Emma Watson as like the face of European beauty. It was literally in the title. It says, celebrating European beauty. I thoroughly support this because I think that like white European British women do have they have like a long heritage. They have a culture. Like, I feel like Natalie Portman is a really good example of this. Emma Watson is a perfect example of this, though. That is a white European woman. Rosalia is not that. And in no world ever will she ever be that. Like, whoever's living in a society, in a world where they believe that Rosalia is a part of that white European group, I feel like you need to have that conversation with white European women. I'm not going to really enter that conversation too much. I'm not going to like entertain it too much. But I feel like this is another issue that we have, and a reason why we need to separate the groups and separate the races. Like, if you're going to have a conversation with me about beauty, you'd have to talk about like black women, and if you like whatever black beauty means to you. Like, I don't maybe it means nothing to you, but like I am that, and you don't have to like acknowledge that group, but like I'm a part of that group. But I also, as a person who's cultured and who's seen beautiful women from all around the world, like modeling will literally give you a really clear insight into like other people from their groups who have been deemed as beautiful. I've seen a lot of like Latina women and Asian women and white women and European women, American white women, European women. And like Rosalia doesn't really fit into either of those groups. Like, she's not an attractive Latina woman, and she's also not an attractive European woman. She's something else, but it's not falling into any of those attractive groups. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, some people are average. Everyone is not like this hyper attractive group, and I think some things become really problematic when you start to like you cannot compare someone like Rosalia to an African woman. Like, we're just so different. Like, as you see, I have like brown skin and like really like coarse hair. My facial structure is completely different from hers. And some of that has to do with the European blood flowing through my veins, but that's very specific. Like, it's Italian blood. I'm not sitting here claiming like I am European. Like, that isn't my story. It's not. Right? Like, this is what like an Ethiopian woman looks like. You can sit here and be like, I hate Ethiopian women. That is fine. I've heard it before. I'm sure I'll hear it again. There's just a lot of men in society who really, 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 really like Ethiopian women. I feel like we might be hot shit at this point because everyone is putting us in their music videos, to a point where I have to make content about, please don't put us in your music videos. So everyone can feel their feelings about it, but kind of like the stats are kind of demonstrating themselves. Look around, especially in American society, it's like every black child I see being born is like Somali or like Habesha, and I'm just dying. Like, all of Oakland, the population of like black children being born, everyone is Habesha. So I don't even know how much more you could be like, y'all love Habesha women because y'all keep having babies of them. I literally looked at a school in Chinatown the other day. Every little girl looks just like me. And I'm just like, if that is not the proof is in the pudding, okay, like, I don't even know what more you could say. Because these are 2-parent households. They might be low income. It's still 2 parents who are making babies to look just like me. So, you could just sit with that for yourself. It looks like the American population of black people is now just Habeshas. We are the black people now in America. So welcome, bitches. We've taken over everything. To everyone who wanted to hate on us and be like, we weren't the finest. Well, damn. Survival of the fittest kicks in again. And just by eating our onions and talking our shit on the internet, here we are, another generation in. Winning. Anyway, where was I going with this? Oh. So where I was going with this is that, like, these men with all of these access are choosing the women who they deem the most desirable. And Leonardo DiCaprio is choosing, like, of all the hot bitches, I'm not even choosing none of the Karens in America. I think some of y'all have to say something about this because, like, competition is kind of important. As in, like, you might think about, ooh, look what I got. But you also have to think about, like, look what you didn't get, right? Because, like, someone else got it. Or in my case, people always wonder, like, people literally ask me this shit all the time. Whose wife are you? Who's blah, blah, blah. Like, I belong to someone. But I've made a choice a very long time ago that I don't want to belong to anyone. I belong to myself. I make decisions for myself and I live for myself. And other people don't understand that. So they believe that, like, whatever their cultural norms of value, that those apply to me, and they don't. Like, I don't participate in purity politics. I just don't believe in it. I don't believe in classism. I feel like for a moment I put away some of my, like, sexual politics, though, where I'm like, ooh, he's super fine, and, like, he's not as fine as him. And I'm sorry, but I'm just going to go back to that. I'm only fucking dudes who I think are super sexy. If you are not, like, if I don't look at you and start to drool, it's not happening. That's how I feel at this point in my life. Because already men give me a headache. It's just like every single time I talk to a man, I get a headache. I don't want any headaches. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm too fine to have a headache. I just don't want it. So that's honestly how I feel. Also, I gotta say, man, as much as I dislike Chris Brown, he really did it with Call Me Every Day. It's a great video. I've been watching it. So it's just like the women in the video are so pretty. It's just like, I like music videos for pretty women, pretty black women specifically, and, like, he did it. I feel like he picked up the formula. He was like, okay, if I put some pretty black women in my video, people are gonna watch it. Then he put pretty black women in his video, and people are watching. Okay, yep, I can't lie. I like the video. I like it. It worked. Okay, Chris Brown has pulled me in. But I also think, it's really inspired me to write more, okay, and just give my perspective on things. Now, it's really hard for me to determine who's gonna listen because I feel like I have not found my audience yet. But I do think that, like, there's gotta be some people out in the world who care about my perspective. I don't know who those people are. I don't know if they're alive yet, but there's got to be someone. And in the same way, I remember how I felt, like, before I found Helen and before I found Sagan and before basically I found other Habesha girls to follow and I felt like I'd found my tribe. I was very lost, okay? Like, I was just out here like, oh my God, there's, like, no girls who look like me. And honestly, I'm sorry, but there are ugly girls out here too. And I felt like I was surrounded by just busted, ugly girls. And I was like, I can't relate to this. We don't have shared experiences. And honestly, I don't like your photos because I think that you're ugly. And that's just how I felt. So. Some people may call me a hater, but when I saw Karuchi's pictures, that's how I felt. I was just like, I'm sorry, I don't relate to Karuchi. I don't think that she's pretty, and I don't like her. So, like, I'm not going to be like a hater making like hate videos about Karuchi or anything, but also, I'm not supportive. So, everyone else can feel their feelings, but I am not a supporter of ablation, and you might just have to hate me for that, but that's how I feel. So, that's how I feel. I don't know. Actually, that might be all I have to say in this little segment. Oh, here's something else, and I feel like maybe I'll actually make another video about this, but there's kind of like an unlimited number of hours that you could potentially spend on editing. You could technically spend 16 hours editing one video just to make it so that like all of this background noise is gone and like you don't hear the bus driving by the window and like you don't see my bra strap. And like my hair looks perfect and my skin is flawless and I'm just like this super dame where like, ooh, she's so sexy. Yeah, but I'm not gonna do that because like I said, the purpose of my channel is to be present I want to give you guys what is actually happening in my life without the editing. If you want the editing, there are other channels for that. I'm trying to give you the bitch who has a mic and a camera and Wi-Fi in the city in downtown right now and is living, I am the economy ticket. Kelly Stamps is like the first class ticket. I am economy. Kelly is first class. See the difference? Octavia B, first class ticket. Economy class. Like, I am coach. I have a ticket. Don't get it twisted. Like, I be going places and I've got, like, credit cards and debit cards. And, like, my apartment is in my name. So don't get it twisted. Like, the economy ticket is still a ticket. I think some of y'all niggas get it confused because y'all be like, y'all don't have no ticket to nowhere. So then you think we are the same because it's not first class, without realizing like economy class ain't free, bitch. If I wanted to get an economy ticket to Germany right now, it's still $3,000. I don't have $3,000 right now. Otherwise, you would catch my black ass in Germany. You see what I'm saying? Economy ain't free. Okay.